Hi, I'm the host of the JMFG podcast. Thank you guys for all the shouts out for the first episode of Javier Colon. Thank you guys for the second episode of Luis Cantrell. Just to let you guys know, we are doing a follow-up of the second episode of Luis Cantrell. I don't know if you guys noticed, but towards the end of that first episode, it got very emotional. And we're definitely going to come back and let you guys know where she's at in her life right now. But I just want to send a shout out to all my friends, family, fans, listeners. People have been sending me great comments about they love the show and what we're trying to do here. And basically our mission statement is we're sharing people's stories and talking about people's lives and how one tragic story could have turned into a positive story, or how one positive story turned into a tragic story. Because everything doesn't always end the way we plan, or it doesn't go out the way we plan. So the whole premise is behind the just making lives greater one story at a time. That is the mission statement of the JMFG podcast. So again, thank you guys. Continue to listen, subscribe, like, share, send it out to your friends and family. And this is our third episode, and I have none better with me than one of my best friends, Brad Clayton. I say that lightly because when I told him that, he gets the big head. So he can go back and watch this 100 times with me saying that. But Brad's just a good old country boy. He was a golfer. I'll let him share his story, but I just want to tell you that, he's one of those guys that are doing the same thing I'm trying to do. He's always paying it forward. He's always helping people, always trying to, put other people before himself and trying to just make this world a better place. But other than that, with no further ado, I give you Brad Clayton.
Thank you very much for having me, Johnny. I'm actually very happy to be here.
Well, I'm glad to have you, brother. So, first off, tell me what you did today.
I rode my horse today. Yep, down on the Moss Plantation. Had a big time.
Me and Brad, for people that don't know, we ride horses together. Well, Brad goes out there, I ride my horse. And then he just kind of lollygags behind. But he went and rode today. I couldn't make it because I had other things to do. But Brad's going to tell you something different. Go ahead.
Not the story I heard, but it's okay. I'll go with that.
No, tell me what you're going to say. Go ahead.
No, he said he ain't rode his horse in 2 months, and he was a little bit anxious to get on the horse because he didn't know if he was going to behave. So I said, okay.
Johnny Quinn ain't scared of nothing, but I'll give you that one. All right, but having said that, so Brad is the founder of the Brotherhood of Warriors. And if you could, Brad, just go into detail and tell people what the Brotherhood of Warriors is and how you came up with that.
Yeah, the Brotherhood is just something that came about probably in 2013. It was, I had spent, I've been working with combat wounded vets since 2006. I got called to go to do a clinic at Camp Lejeune at the Wounded Warrior Battalion there. And when I went down there, I fell in love with the whole situation. That story can go a whole nother way and take up quite a bit of time, so I won't do that. But through that contact, I ended up doing some clinics, meeting with Jim Estes, who ran the SMGA, and we partnered together to do some programs that were called the SMGA programs, and I started those in 2013 at Camp Lejeune. And in that process, I met a guy named Walt Townsend, and Walt and I used to hang out a lot in his garage and just talk and be and exist. And I had always wanted in those, 7 years prior, had wanted to make a retreat, if you will, for guys to go hang out, but I didn't have the means and the ways to do that kind of thing. But Walt and I were just sitting around one evening, and it just hit me in the middle of a night, literally, with him. And I said, do you like camping out? And he's like, yeah. And I got to thinking about it. I said, well, I have our golf range, and we've got 12 acres. We can have some dudes come over and hang out and play golf and just be. And he's like, right on. So we had actually 2 group guys and him and me and 2 dogs. I think they brought 2 dogs between the 3 of them. And we hung out that night and played golf, and we had a ball. We had a big time. And that was literally the beginning of the Brotherhood. And from that, I thought it would be a good idea to start a competition between, at the time, the Marine Corps and the Army. And that came to fruition, and I think we had 22 guys in the Brotherhood that will come in and participate that first year. And then it has blossomed to this point to, I think, anywhere from 50 to 60 guys compete each year. And it includes...
And who usually wins that, Brad? I'm just throwing it out there.
The last 2 years in a row, it's been the Marine Corps and the Navy.
Okay, so but prior to that, how many wins?
Prior to that, the 7 before that was the Army and the Air Force.
I'm just throwing out 7 wins, right, for the Army? Okay.
7 and 2, but y'all, they're on like a run at this particular point.
No, they were getting ready to quit, so, we kind of gave them a little, so they'll keep coming back.
That's right. So yeah, it became that, but that's just a part of it, and that became the Brotherhood of Warriors, and it has grown to where we've got probably 400 plus guys on the distro, and I'd say probably 100 to 150 that work and contribute, that hang out consistently.
Right.
Some make it, some don't, some do, some don't. We get guys that come in from pretty much all over the country to just be with guys they've known for the last. This is our 10th year.
Correct.
This is our 10th Challenge Cup coming up this fall. So
So for all the listeners that are out there, Brad, what's the criteria to get into the Brotherhood?
There are two. The program I work with called Salute Military Golf Association, you have to be post 9/11 combat wounded to participate in that.
Right.
So the vast majority of the guys that are in the Brotherhood are combat wounded.
Right.
But I didn't want to not allow other guys to be participating that went downrange and outside the wire significantly, but just zigged when they should have zigged instead of zagging when they should have zagged, and ended up being okay. So we've got some guys that have been downrange, outside the wire, and in combat significantly that are part of the Brotherhood. But the vast majority, and I'd say that'd be 90 to 95% of the Brotherhood, are combat wounded.
And they have to be soft Special Operation Forces guys, right?
No.
They do not.
They do not have to be soft, but they have to be combat wounded. And
that
means
and that's for the SMGA?
For SMGA and the Brotherhood.
Right.
So if you're combat wounded, if you were just in the wrong place and something bad happened, you're welcome in the Brotherhood. Okay. And we're not excluding. There are a lot of programs out there. Ours just happens to be somewhat exclusive in that regard, in that you have to be combat wounded or you have to have significant time downrange. The vast majority of the guys in the Brotherhood are soft guys.
Right.
From MARSOC to, and I'll just leave that where it is.
So hey, for guys that are watching, just so military guys, as long as you have extensive time downrange, you can be a part of the Brotherhood. And I can tell you right now, I've been in the Brotherhood for how many years now? It's been a while.
6 or 7?
About 7 years, I would say. And it is a phenomenal get-together. We get together on weekends, weekdays. We play golf. And now I'm going to let Brad tell you, some of his accolades as a golf instructor. So Brad actually gives lessons. I don't know exactly what the time is, but I know he gives lessons on Fort Bragg and Camp Lejeune so that guys can come get lessons and learn, just not only how to play golf, but you learn all the golf etiquette. You learn everything you need to know about the game. So I'll let Brad elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, before we go there, the Brotherhood itself, just to give you an idea of our year, is we have a spring get-together, a summer get-together, a fall get-together, and the Challenge Cup, which is our cumulative thing at the end of the year, which is the competition, which is the biggest event of the year, where we have literally 60 guys competing. That's the only competitive round of golf we play. The rest of the time we get together, it is literally just for fun.
Correct.
So if you really suck or you're really bad, it's okay. We don't care. It's about the camaraderie and the time, the Brotherhood getting together, which is how this all started, which was sitting around a fire and hanging out. And so we've got those 4 core get-togethers of the year. We also have the fall family get-together, which is coming back this year actually in September. So it's the families, but we also have a get-together for just the ladies, the wives and the girlfriends, significant girlfriends and wives of the Brotherhood that can get together, and we do a Christmas get-together for them. And so there are other smaller pockets that get together for the Brotherhood, but those are the core ones that we do each year. And as far as what we do, we try to, I keep things small. I don't like big. I'm not corporate. I don't want to be corporate, not trying to be corporate. We just small. We get together, and it's literally a brotherhood as far as I'm concerned at the end of the day. Now, when it comes down to what I offer, the programs I do with SMGA typically happen in the spring. They happen in the fall, and they are 5 weeks long. They go for 20 hours, and we go over pretty much every aspect of the game. And then I'm always available to guys to come to Durham to get free golf instruction with me. All you have to do is set it up. And
I'm going to interject right here. I don't know if you want to go get lessons from Brad. I'm just throwing it out there.
I was trying to be serious for a moment now. If we're going to go that route, we can go this route.
I'm just forewarning people.
It's okay. I'm pretty proud of my resume. And I'm not going to talk about that.
No, I want you to elaborate a little bit on it. Just a little bit.
Nah.
Just get at people who you are. That way they know what they're coming to get. Just a little bit.
Nothing.
So Brad,
it's all garbage.
But no, Brad wrote a book. He's one of the most renowned teachers in North Carolina, and he's a great.
I wouldn't say that. I've been blessed in my life to have received a few accolades along my career, which I've been teaching golf for 35 years. And if you want to say it, we can go.
You're good. I'm listening.
35 years I've been a golf professional for since I was 20. So that was 36 years ago I turned professional. I became a PGA member of the PGA of America in 1992. So what is that? 31 years ago. I became a certified teaching professional in 2001. Whatever that is, and then a master professional in teaching in 2004.
Okay.
And then, so all I've done since then is, all I've done since I played was teach since I'd say 1994. I played some in 94, 95, 96, but I kind of stopped playing for a while, basically because I wanted to be with my children and at that time. Yeah, so teaching's pretty much all I've been doing. And one of the reasons I never really did well with playing was I for some reason I don't really have a competitive gear. I've got I prefer to see people do better than me. I want other people to succeed. I really enjoy watching other people get better. I really enjoy watching other people have more fun with the game and in general life, whatever it is. Than I do myself. So I never really had a competitive gear that I wanted to beat somebody, unless you got in a fight. That's another ball game.
Gotcha.
But when it comes to general life, yeah, I'm really enjoy seeing people do better.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted Brad to come on the show too, is because Brad's got a phenomenal story. Just what happened. We're gonna switch gears now because I wanted to talk about the brotherhood because I want all my service brothers and sisters that are out there to know that there are guys like Brad that has programs that you can be a part of something, just to, a lot of times when guys get out of the military or they get hurt, you realize that so much of your identity was the uniform. And then once you lose that uniform, the identity's gone. But the brotherhood itself, it gives us camaraderie. It gives us, competition. Even though Brad say, this is not competition, that's a lie. We compete. Even if it's just amongst ourselves, that's just what keeps us going. We compete with each other. But not all that, just having the guys in the brotherhood. Me and a couple of my buddies from the brotherhood will link up on Tuesdays and Thursdays, go play a striker or rider in Fort Bragg. The guys at Camp Lejeune, give a shout out to Ryan Rogers at Choices of Not Chances. Shrek. Those guys are meeting up at Camp Lejeune and they're golfing. But it's just something that, it keeps you going and it gives you an outlet to actually be able to go and just vent. Or just to go to talk, or just to go hang out. Sometimes you just need that. And so, I just want to thank Brad for everything you've done with the brotherhood. I know there's been times where I've called you and talked about stuff, and I know other guys call you, they call me, they call everybody. It's just good to have that outlet where we can talk. So, from me to you, I want to thank you for, starting the brotherhood. But now we're going to switch gears here on the JMFG because I honestly think Brad's story could really help a lot of people. Like I say, on the JMFG podcast, we're trying to help people through sharing stories. So Brad was a professional golfer before he had his injury. So what I'd like for you to do, Brad, is just kind of talk us through that day, man, and tell us what happened when you got injured.
Yeah, I was just at my teaching center, and I had, like I said, I decided not to play so much at the time because of my family, and I wasn't getting the results I wanted to get as well.
Right.
So it wasn't as lucrative, and like I said, it took me a while to figure that out. But yeah, when I was 11 years old, 12 years old, I knew I was going to be a golf professional, but I thought I'd be a player, just like every other kid that wanted to basketball, football, basketball, baseball, whatever. That was where I obviously was wanting to go, but it didn't work out that way because I just didn't. There's two things that kept me from that. One was I didn't have control of my ball, and the way it should have been. I mean, I was good. I was really good. When I was bad, I was really bad. And then I just didn't really have a competitive gear. And I acknowledge that. It took a while to figure that out. But so I took some time, and that goes. I was in. I think it was in. I had gone to England to go to European tour school. I had gone to Spain. I was on my back, and I came back, and when I figured out real quick, I just didn't really want to be away from my family,
right.
As much as because again, I had literally failed to qualify, and so I just said, okay, well, I'm going to teach full time, and so I taught full time, and so when it was being in Europe, being in America, so I decided to build a range in Oxford, North Carolina, which was that was a bad decision, but it was what it was. It opened up a lot of doors, and it actually was the best thing I ever did in my life, which is where I'm from. But I was building the range, the teaching center, and was putting up a net at the back of the range, and was standing on the back of an auger to put the pressure on the drill, which was dull and it was an old drill, and so I was just standing up on the back of it to put pressure on it. The dirt was dry. And my shirt got caught in the universal joint, and the universal joint goes underneath a bar that supports the drill itself. And fortunately for me, it got caught on the opposite side of the bar, because when it got hung up in there, and I was wearing a button-down shirt, which I wasn't able to get through the button-down. I was able to get through I could pull through this, but when it started to wind around the seams, I couldn't get away. So it was either get wrapped in or break it off, and I didn't think about it. It just happened. I just broke it off on the bar itself, and so when I broke it off, I mean, that we could go into a dissertation of what happened after that. I mean, I never panicked. I never passed out. I was just there. I was like, I always would take it when I injured myself. I would see if I could take a grip and make a swing and not have pain. And when I did that time, I was like, oh shit, there's nothing left but two bones right here. And so I'm like, okay, where are we going from here? And I started thinking I had to get up and go turn the tractor off because it was jamming up and down because it didn't have anyone manning it, and yada yada yada. And so literally within, I want to say 5 to 10 minutes of that, I started thinking I'm going to really need this elbow to play golf again, to attach something to my arm. And so I was blessed to have that, and there were 4 parts to me being able to keep this elbow, which is a big part of my life. Yeah, that was just the start of it. I was just blessed to be able to breathe. If it had caught me on this side, on my side, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. And I've said that in probably 7 or 8 interviews since I did this, that I'm blessed beyond measure that I broke my hand off. And it's not only because I'm still alive, but it's literally one of the best things, other than my children and my girlfriend now maybe, the best thing that ever happened to me in my life was breaking.
I ain't hearing nothing about Johnny Glenn in that. No way.
Yeah, well, and that's because you right on the neck. You're like the 4th one. I talk about the first 3. So yeah, it was a blessing for me that I broke it off. I mean, it'll eventually start to eat me up because of what it does to you over time, and your spine and your back and your shoulders and what you use, and that'll start to become an issue at some point. But yeah, up until this has been a blessing because it allows me to have this relationship that I got with you right now, because I can talk straight smack to you just as much as you can talk smack to me, and we can figured out because we both have a story on the end. You know, mine's not as romantic as yours or anybody else. And he doesn't have any of the romance. It was just a dumbass standing on the back of an auger, didn't know any better, and did what he did. But it's opened up an opportunity for me to be able to communicate with some really special people, special in many ways. Some are really special, and some are special in other ways. But it allows me to be able to do that in a way that I'd have never been able to do other than having this happen to me.
So once the auger, you broke your arm off, you got, you ran everything through your mind. Now, did the ambulance come pick you up, or?
Yeah, actually, one of my I played basketball in high school, and one of my brothers on the team, his brother was working for the company that I had bring me some posts, and I had broken a post, and so he was bringing me an extra one out there. Just so happens that the young man Patrick Cox that was with me, who was working with me at the time, thank God it wasn't him that got hurt.
Right.
There's a blessing beyond measure that Patrick didn't get hurt, but I did. And he had gone to call, but at that time, Owen Cross, Cecil Cross was my brother that would play. He was like my best friend in high school, playing basketball and whatnot. I used to wear him out one-on-one, and I hope he hears this because he's in Atlanta now. He would love to hear that. Anyway, so Owen, his brother, came up and he drove up in the truck, and I got in the truck, and I'm like, and I won't use the language I use, but I'm like, I think I messed up. And he's like, yeah, I think so. So I got in the truck with him, and he drove, and we met the ambulance halfway between there and the hospital. I got out of the truck, went to the gurney. I got on the gurney, rolled off the other side of the gurney onto the ground, and all I could think about was sticking my bones in the ground and not being able to pick them back up out of the ground. True story. The one guy, they get me back up on the gurney, and one guy says, hey, where's the hand? And I was too stupid to even think about the tissue, the hand. It didn't never cross my mind.
Right.
Never. And so thank goodness this one guy said, hey, where's the tissue of the hand? And they said, well, I know where it is. And so they went back and they salvaged it, which is why I still have this elbow, which is this part here. But anyway, so they take me on in to the emergency room and fly me to Duke, and I get the best surgeon in the world named Scott Levin. I was blessed to have him. I never passed out. I mean, I went on a helicopter and tried to see my range, but I could never see the range. And morphine, if you didn't know, makes you itch. I don't know. My nose was itching. It's like this little girl that was flying me. I said, I swear, please, just would you scratch my nose? And she did the whole way over.
That's awesome.
But anyway, yeah, we go over there, and I said, look, there's 25 people waiting on me in the emergency room. And I'm like, oh, y'all waiting on me? And they're like, yes, sir, Mr. Clayton. I said, well, thank you so much, but I would really like to speak to the surgeon. And he came in, and this was Scott Levin, and I said, Doc, I'm prepared to come out with a shoulder, but I sure would like that elbow because I'm a golf professional. This is what I do, and I'd like to attach something back to it and play it. He said, I'll do the best I can. He calls me a Cadillac.
Okay.
Because he did. That's my leg, and that's my palm. That's my old woman right there. And my fingers right there. So yeah, I was blessed to keep it.
So once you got out of the hospital, I've heard people talk about phantom pains and feeling, thinking it's there when it's not there. Once you got out of the hospital, how many surgeries did you actually have? Did he just?
I didn't get out of the hospital for a while. It took me like over 3 weeks to get out because it wouldn't heal because of the dirt.
Right.
It was
in
it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was infected, and so this is another one of the 4 pieces to let me get out and keep this elbow. Was I was at Duke and they had the hyperbaric chamber, and the hyperbaric chamber helped it heal, and that was a miserable week, but it was what it was. But that being said, I'm sitting down and. This ain't gonna get emotional, but it would if I went this other direction.
Go that direction.
No, I don't want to go there. But I'm down in this hyperbaric chamber, and I could never get in front of the antibiotics, and I wasn't eating, I was losing weight, and yada yada yada. And they had the Miracles for Children, the Duke Children's Classic and stuff, and I heard a lot of their stories while I'm laying on this bed, and I'm like, man, you ain't got nothing going on, just nothing. Anyway, so I got through the hyperbaric chamber, got out, and that was a big piece of me being able to do it. So I had like 6 or 7, surgeries. Every time I go to get a surgery, we'd go by on the outside and see the Duke Chapel up on the outside. And I had hit a golf ball over the Duke Chapel like in 1999. And I'm like telling these people, I'm like, I hit a ball over that thing. And they're like, and what? I'm like, you have no idea what it took me to hit a ball over that chapel right there. Yeah.
So after your surgeries, you get done with your surgeries, everything, 6 or 7 surgeries, you're trying to, in your mind, were you trying to come back to golf, or how many times you sat there and just like,
that was all I wanted to do was compete. I wanted to be the first arm amputee to play professional golf.
Okay.
That was in my brain. That's what I literally wanted to do. But I had no. I tried for 6 years to try to get my arm back to a state that I could play, and I can still play. I mean, it just depends. I mean, how focused I want to be or not. I mean, most of the time when I play with y'all, I'm just having fun. I could care less whether I play good or not. And I try to compete every now and again now, but I don't play enough to really shoot decent scores.
Right.
But because it's not a priority for me, and because I know I'm not going to get where I did. But for 6 years, I worked hard with a guy named Ronnie Morgan, who was a blessing to me, and Timmy Lumpkins, who is a friend of mine that worked at Revlon, came by to see me, and I'm trying to take a piece of metal, and I had gotten a hand from Duke to put back on my prosthetic to be able to hit balls. And it just wasn't working. It just didn't work. And so my brain's like, I'm going to tear this thing all to pieces. So I tore it up and was putting a shaft and trying to screw it down with stuff from the hardware store. I mean, just straight up.
You want to make it work?
Middle-aged. I mean, I'm middle-aged kind of stuff. But when I did do it one time, I hit a chip shot, and I'm like, that's the feel I'm looking for because it had a solid feel. And I'm sitting up on my deck at the range, and I got stuff laying everywhere. And Timmy came to say hello, and he was like, hey, man, how you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm doing great. But he said, what the hell are you doing? I said, well, I'm trying to figure this shit out.
Trying to make it work.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I want to hit a golf ball. He said, you need to meet Ronnie Morgan. And Ronnie Morgan didn't know diddly squat about golf. But he was a mechanical engineer, and he was a wizard with steel. And so we met, and so we started G-hawing back. It was a process, though, because he had to work and he had time, and they were doing and the whole team at Revlon was on my side trying to fix this stuff, and there's no telling how much time they invested in making this stuff. And over time, it got to where I think it took literally 6 years to where I was like, I don't think I can make this any better. There's only 2 in the world like it. One was stolen from me in Beaufort, South Carolina, and it's probably in a swamp somewhere, and the one that I use right now, which is so those 2 are the only 2 that I know of. Well, I've never seen one anywhere, but anyway, so yeah, I was still trying to play, but I finally, and I even had Duke did some studies on me for speed and this and that, and I had some, David Ledbetter's a friend of mine, and he was looking at it, and it was a speed issue. I just don't have the speed that I used to have. So I can't compress the ball enough to hit it far enough to compete.
Right.
And so I'm hitting driver, 5-wood, 3-wood, driver. Lance and I played out in Texas a couple of weeks ago in Frisco after you left, and we were out there. And so we went and played this course. It was 70, I think it was playing 7,100 yards. And at our new PGA facility, and it was, I hit driver 3-wood to like 6 or 7 par 3s because my drive's like 230, 240, and then I got 200 into the green, and So I never had the speed
Gotcha.
to do it. Now, as a senior, I'm playing 6,500-yard long courses, and so I'm able to do a little bit better. I still don't score well, but it's a little easier from 65. I need to be playing from 55. Maybe putt-putt.
That's what I was going to recommend. To go to putt-putt, you'll be good.
I'll be all right with that.
So switching gears, Brad, how would you, like, there's kids out there right now, there's adults out there right now that are having, struggles where, they dream they want to be a professional golfer, a professional baseball, football, basketball player, and all of a sudden, their whole life is turned around off one incident, whether it's a car wreck, whether it's they get sick or whatever. What words of encouragement, or what did you use to get yourself through? Like, and I know you're probably still using it every day. What did you use? What was your kryptonite? What was your strengthening tool? What was it that you did to make Brad Clayton to be successful and continue to be successful?
I would say my passion for people, just passion for helping people more than anything. But for me, it never slowed me down. I mean, I never thought that I wouldn't be able to do anything. And this is just a hand. Honest to goodness, man, my stuff is so trivial. It was my dominant hand, yada yada yada. But I mean, it really truly wasn't a big deal, and I made it not a big deal. And so when it comes to I don't think you got to find motivation in yourself first of all. I mean, nobody can motivate you. I think people can briefly motivate you, but you still have to have the core want to be who you want to be, to do what you want to do. And you'll find a way when it comes to that if you truly believe and want to. Motivation to me, I mean, speaking, and I've done my share of those too. And, I don't know if I make a difference in anybody's life. Maybe they're like, oh, well, maybe I don't have it as bad as I thought I did. But at the end of the day, you got to look inside. And in my world, in the Puzzle Duck golf world, everything starts from the ground, the inside, up and out, not the top, the outside, in and down. And so if you're working from your ground, your grassroots, your roots that you're growing from the inside, your heart, your soul, where you are inside, and you spread it out, I think you can do. Everybody's got limitations.
Right.
I mean, anybody that says that positive thinking is going to take you over and make the world appear, I think that's bull. But you just got to keep pushing and pushing, and maybe it comes, maybe it don't come. I mean, there's failure in life. You're going to fail. You're going to lose. Some people don't ever freaking win.
Right.
At the end of the day, you just don't. So you got to find your passion and do the best you can, and know at the end of the day, it's like a round of golf. I mean, at the end of the day, when you play a round of golf, either you do or you don't. I mean, as a kid, I was one of the worst things I ever did. I always found an excuse for not succeeding. They don't exist. Either you do succeed or you don't succeed.
Right.
There ain't no do-over. I had a math teacher taught me that. I say she taught me that. She introduced me to that thought a long time ago. When she's like, because I was accustomed to retake tests going to the school I was at. She's like, man, I don't even know what you're talking about. We don't have no retake tests here. And it was like, wow, okay, really? This is serious. And she flunked me by 0.5 point that year. And it was a good lesson for me, because I'm like, yeah, you need to figure it out from the inside. And at the end of the day, when it comes to other people and motivating people and doing what, I think you can set a good example for people. And I think you can always be positive and smile and spread energy. I'm a big believer in energy, in that positive energy creates positive energy, and negative energy will suck you dead. No doubt about it. If you put negative energy out, you're going to get negative energy. If you want trouble, go get it. You can do it. It's not hard to do. If you want positive energy, it's not hard to do. If you put it out there, you find the right people that are positive, that are looking, and all of that energy moves in one direction. And to me, there's no magic to any of it. The motivation is just finding what you love. I tell my children, find what you love and you're passionate about, and do the best you can. I mean, I don't, and don't ever quit. You know, if that's what you want, go get it and keep getting it and never stop.
Well, I got this saying that's actually up on the wall here in the JMFG podcast, and it says, find something you would die for and live for it. And I totally agree with that. You know, if you find something you would die for and you live for that, that's that motivation you're talking about. And I like to call it inspiration. I think motivation, like you say, I think motivation is like a diet. You know, you lose a little weight, then all of a sudden you get a stalemate, you quit the diet because, okay, I'm not losing any more weight. But if you're inspired to do something, you will continue to do it. Mm-hmm. And just to say, I will say this, Brad, I think you're wrong when you say you don't think your words make a difference. Because I think they do. I've known you now for 7, almost 8 years. All of us in the brotherhood, we just lost a buddy. Sending a shout out to Thomas Sullivan. He passed away not too long ago. And Brad actually spoke at his funeral. And I will say, the words that you said up there talking about Sully, it did make a difference. And at the end of the day, I think your story is going to make a difference for somebody out there that, you know, might have something ripped away from them at the spur of a moment. Now all of a sudden, what do I do? They might just hear this story and say, well, hey, Brad Clayton said X, Y, and Z, or this is how he made it through. I might just find that passion in something else. So, you know, don't ever think that your words don't make a difference, because I know you got 400 members from the brotherhood. If you call us, we would be there, and you know that. You know, if you call me anytime tonight, I'll be there.
Both ways.
Oh, yeah, and I know it does. Yeah. So at the end of the day, don't ever think that your story or your words don't mean a lot to people, because they do, especially to, you know, self-operator guys or people out there that have been through, you know, trials and tribulations like you've been through. You know, it's easy for somebody, me, to walk up to somebody that haven't been through nothing or had something drastic happen to them and say, oh, yeah, I know what you mean. No, you don't. You have no clue. Just like Louise Cantrell was on her last week. I cannot tell her I know what the feeling is of losing a child, because I don't. I lost my parents and it's almost killed me. You were there. You came to my parents' funeral. But if I lost a child, I couldn't imagine it. So I can't sit here and tell her, oh, I know what you're going through, because I can't. So at the end of the day, I think your words, your story, brother, I think is solid. I think what you do for the brotherhood and how you pay that forward and loving people, I think that shows every day. And I think that's leaps of bounds of what I want this show to be about. People that, you know, you're just an average, you know, country bumpkin. Look how you dress, man. You know, like, I can't take you nowhere. You like a broke old Sam Elliott, so I can't take you nowhere. But I got nothing but love for you, you know what I mean? And I love your story. And I love you, brother. And you know,
I love you.
And I appreciate you for coming. And if there's anything else you want to say to some young kid or some adult or anybody out there that feel like, hey, I'm just at a point in my life where it's just not going right, you know, what would you say to them, you know?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I will tell you this, and this is something I have to do a better job at myself. Your gut tells you a lot. Mm-hmm. Your gut. Your heart, your soul, your gut tells you more. And I think you have to follow through on what your gut's telling you. And if it's burning inside, keep after it and act on it. Because I think it's easy to conform or not want to step outside the boundaries of what's normal. Just find what your gut tells you to do and get after it. Sure. And don't quit. One of the guys, I got some ink on that arm right there. It says relentless, and that's one of my favorite words in this world. Relentless. That means you just there's a point where being relentless needs to be backed up, but for the most part, when you've got a positive direction, you got where you're trying to go, you be relentless at doing what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And get after it. Don't ever quit. But you got to make them choices, and you got to make good choices. You know, the choices you make every day will make it will influence who you become. And you wake up every day, and I said this in an interview 15 years ago, and that is, every day you wake up with a choice. You can choose to go this direction, or you can choose to go that direction. And when you make the choice of every day will influence who you become. You can choose to be with these friends, you can choose to be with those friends. You can choose to do this activity, you can choose to do this activity. You can choose to read a book, you can choose to look at your phone. You can choose every day. We're blessed in this country. To this point, we're blessed in this country, and God help us all. I hope we continue to have this choice to do what you want to in this country, and to keep moving forward and have freedom of choice. And every day you have the choice to do that, and that's good. That's what's going to make you who you are. It ain't where you are. I think you can get out of wherever you are if you make the right choices.
Well, I'll tell you what, brother, I appreciate you for coming out, man, sharing your time on the JMFG podcast. For everybody out there, please like and subscribe. This is Brad Clayton. He is the founder of the Brotherhood of Warriors. We'll tag him. We'll make sure we put the Brotherhood of Warriors in the bottom of this episode, so you can reach out to Brad if you need to. Talk to Brad. And for all the servicemen and women out there, hey, look at the Brotherhood of Warriors. I think it's a great foundation. It's built off a principle. It's built by somebody that actually been through, the ups and downs of life. You see his little Miller right here. So I know for a fact he's been through some bad things in life. So for somebody to go through bad stuff like he's been through and then bounce back and be on top, it's easy for servicemen and women to relate to that. And civilians too. I'm not going to say the civilians can't relate to that. But hey, reach out to Brad, phenomenal guy, great golf instructor. I love him. I swear by him. Thank you for coming by, brother. And as always, I love you. If you need anything, I'm a phone call away.
Works both ways.
I love it, brother. I love it. I appreciate you, brother. I love you. Good stuff. You smell like horse, man.